Welcome to Lancaster Community Television Station, Channel 66. I'm Ethan, here with Judge Jodie Richardson. How you doing, Judge?
Good morning, Ethan.
You make another ruling today?
Oh, just a few.
Yeah, she is a pioneer of the Southeast community, and more importantly, she's a leader, and she's impacting the community all year round. How's your day going so far?
So far, everything's going well. It's Friday morning. It's going to be a nice day today, and I'm looking forward to spending some time with you and then going on about the rest of the day and looking forward to a great weekend, really.
Yeah, serving justice?
Yes, I am, every day.
Cool. May you tell me about your background as far as growing up in the southeast side of Lancaster?
Oh, sure. Born and raised in Lancaster City in the southeast. I went to what was first Higbee Elementary School, and then when I was in fourth grade, it changed to Martin Luther King Elementary School. From elementary school, I went on to Lincoln Middle School, and then graduated from McCaskey High School in '89. So growing up in the Southeast was wonderful for me. We were very community-oriented. Families, you looked after other family members. Those were the times when if you did something, your parents knew about it before you got home, and other parents could correct you in the streets, help lead you down the right path. I had the Boys and Girls Club in my life, and I was a member of the club, and now a member of the Boys and Girls Club of Lancaster Alumni Association. But going to the Boys and Girls Club as a youth was very instrumental in my life. It gave me a place to go, to have fun with my friends, to learn structure, just to play activities, to learn responsibility, and it was great. I loved growing up in the Southeast. It was a diverse community, and then spreading out, meeting other kids at our schools that didn't necessarily live on the blocks where we were, and that was Dolphin Street.
Cool. That's very interesting background you did. Like, what are some of the values and core standards your parents and your family installed in you at that time period?
My parents, I like to say my parents were strict. I wasn't allowed to go as far as some of my other friends were allowed to go. Parents kind of kept us closer to home, at least me. My brothers could venture off a little further because they were the boys and they were all together. But my parents just really instilled in me the responsibility of always being trustful, respecting your elders, respecting your peers. Yes, I say trust and respect went a long way in our family, and you own up to your responsibilities. If you do something, if you make a mistake, own up to it. We find ways to correct that and move on. My family is very close, and everyone supported one another. My family is a caretaker, so I've learned you always look out for your family members and others throughout life. We've had family members who became ill, and it was other family members that took care of them until they passed on. So we're a very, very close-knit family.
Yeah, me and you both are J.P. McCaskey alumni. During my time period, it was the East Building. During your time period, it was just one building.
Yes, we were housed in one building. When I heard about East going up, I'm like, wait, what? Another McCaskey? No, there can only be one. But due to the population growth in our area, there were more kids that needed to go to high school, and the main JP was not able to house the volume of students that were entering high school, so they had no choice but to build another school. But yeah, we were still just one JP McCaskey.
Which meant an increase of employment for teachers, counselors, staff, and custodial workers.
Exactly. Now you just have a whole nother building that you have to operate, like you said, with staffing, with teachers, administrators, maintenance people, and that added a lot to the school district.
And increased the budget.
Yes. More buildings, more staff, your dollars are going to go up.
Cool. And I understand you graduated from Millersville University. May you tell me about your experience there and how you crossed the finish line?
Millersville University. I first started working at Millersville University probably around the year of 1994, and being employed there, I had a wonderful opportunity of taking advantage of a benefit that they offered, which was free tuition to the employee, to their spouse, and their dependents. So I'm like, wow, well, I had only gone to Consolidated School of Business after I graduated from McCaskey, and then I started working for the County of Lancaster Domestic Relations section. So when I got to Millersville, I said, this is my opportunity to start taking advantage of my college career. So what I did was I enrolled, since I was employed there, then I enrolled as a student, and they accepted me, and I started taking classes, one class a semester here and there, sometimes two classes a semester here and there. I declared a major initially in accounting, and I did about a year of that, and then I realized I love numbers, I love bookkeeping, but that's not something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I said, my passion was dealing with people and helping them with whatever obstacles they had in life. So I started exploring other majors, and then I came across sociology. I said, sociology seems really interesting, and it helps me understand people better. So I declared a major in sociology with a concentration in criminology. Again, kept plugging away at my college career, and I had wonderful supervisors at Millersville who allowed me the opportunity to flex my lunch hour to take a class. So I didn't always have to be restricted just to taking classes at nighttime. Those night classes, 6 to 9s, they're really long classes, and it seems forever after working all day. So I was able to, do both, take classes during the day and then a couple in the evenings. And I was doing that, as a single mom. I had my first son, and it was hard being a full-time mom, being a full-time employee, and then taking classes part-time. I had a lot on my plate, but I knew this was something I promised my parents I would do. I promised my son that I was going to graduate. So after 20 long years of taking classes on a part-time basis, on and off again, I finally graduated with a degree in sociology, concentration in criminology. And it was the best day. I graduated in December of 2016. And walking across that stage and getting my diploma, it was a great reward. It was a great accomplishment. I learned perseverance through it all. But I said, what I enjoyed most, and I said my greatest joy was in the struggle to get there. So my reward was my struggle.
That's a big accomplishment, not only for you, but also to set the standard for your children to overcome adversity. No matter what pitfalls you're facing, you can still get out of it if you really want to.
Yeah, that is true. And that's something that I was working to, set that example to show my children and my community. Your situation, and me being a teenage mom, doesn't define you, and it doesn't define your future if you don't allow it. If you have goals, put things in place and just keep pursuing. Don't let anything hold you back. No, I'm going to do this, and nothing's going to stop you. And hopefully that instilled good morals and values, in my children and others that was watching me along the way.
Yes, indeed. I believe you had mentors in your life that continued to support you, but also gave you words of encouragement.
Yes, I could say I really started to have mentors at Millersville. There were a lot of people that supported me at Millersville. When I started there weren't many people of color at Millersville, and Patricia Hobson Shelton was somebody who was over top of, it was social equity and diversity at Millersville, which they no longer have that particular department and role that she filled. But she ensured that, all underrepresented at Millersville felt welcome, felt comfortable. If we were struggling with something and we needed help, we could go to her. She would, get that help that we needed to be successful and to stay at Millersville. She was very instrumental in recruiting people and also retaining them at Millersville until they were at a place to where they decided, now it's time for the next step for me to move on. And Patricia was that person for me. And then Bob Thomas, the vice president for student affairs, when I was actually transitioning from academic affairs to student affairs, he hired me into my first management role at Millersville. I was always in a clerical position, and I didn't think that I would qualify or be hired for this management position, but I had Patricia in the background pushing me, apply for the job, you never know. So I applied for the job, and he hired me, and he said he had watched me interact with students at Millersville on various occasions, and he said, that's the type of person I want working for me in student affairs. A very good representation of what we're looking for to create that welcoming environment for not only students, but all the constituents of Millersville. And again, you just never know who's watching you, when they're watching you, what they're observing. So, you always want to be on your up and up, and that actually landed me my first management job. And then from there, Dr. Amita Hawkins-Bro was my supervisor for student affairs, and she continued to mentor me throughout my academic career, my personal life. She was wonderful, and it came to a point to where I was stalling with taking classes, and she called me in her office one day and she said, Jodie, you need to finish this degree, because we were actually working on promotions for me within the management frame. And I said, I know. I said, but I have a lot on my plate. I said, I work for you, my kids. And she said, you can do this. We sat down and sketched out the last 2 years of my academic career, and I didn't think that I could do it, but she said, I know you can. And she said, I'm here to help you. And I stuck to the plan, and I finished in 2 years, and that's how I ended up graduating in December of 2016. And that timing was perfect. So, yeah, I had Dr. Francine McNary, who was at Millersville, who, continued to encourage me along the way and was very proud of what I was doing, as a mom, as an employee, and as a student.
That's a lot of support. A lot of people in the background that you mentioned.
Yes, I believe mentors are very important, and it's great to have various mentors to mentor you in different parts of your life. Some can overlap, and some can be totally unrelated. And just in the community, I had mentors in my life, like Ted Darkus was somebody who was influential in my life growing up, and you had your Papa Boots in school. So there were a lot of people that were always behind me, encouraging me and supporting me along my journey.
Yeah, now that you mentioned encouraging, now you're paying it forward, being a mentor to other people, and your involvement in the community of Lancaster and beyond.
That I am. It's just important to see people from your community in leadership roles. It gives hope to the younger generation when they see you, say, that's somebody from my community and they're in this role. I too can aspire to be that or more. It's just, good leadership, good representation of our community, somebody that they can trust and respect, somebody that they can see and say, that person's approachable. If I have an issue, I can go to that person very easily and have a conversation with them. And that's my way of giving back to the community and positioning myself to sit on boards and organizations that I can have my voice and give the community's voice to make an impact in the community that they live, to see what their needs are and make sure that their needs are heard.
Yeah, you certainly have grown over the years, and now you're in a higher position of leadership. You've grown up in this community of Lancaster, and now you're a judge.
Yeah, something I honestly did not see coming. I never aspired to be a judge. It just was something I didn't think of. I thought I was going to retire from higher education. And then when the vacancy in the Southeast, the 02201 district office became open, some folks started to approach me about the position. And I was like, me, a judge? Like, no way. And they were like, why not? And I was like, I'm not a judge. I work in higher education. I work at Millersville. But after that, I took a step back and I started thinking about it. And I said, well, why not me? I didn't know what the qualifications were to be a judge. So I started doing some research. I talked to people who interacted with judges, some individuals, the Honorable Richard Sims, who held this office. I talked to him, and after doing my research and praying on it, I said, why not me? So my last semester at Millersville, the summer of my last semester, I went to my advisor, Dr. Mary Glazier, and talked to her about this, and she too was encouraging me to pursue this. She told me that if I did the training certification course in Harrisburg to become a district judge, because I'm not an attorney, that she would count that as an independent study for me, and I could get 4 credits. And I took the training and certification class. It was the summer of 2016. It's a month-long course that you take in Harrisburg, and I stayed in Harrisburg for the month, and I would talk to Dr. Glazier on a weekly basis about what was going on, essays that I was writing for my exam, and she gave me the credits. I passed the independent study, and that was just, another person who was pushing me to do this. And then once I passed the exam and became certified, I said, okay, that's one step closer. I said, now what? Well, now we have to campaign. I didn't know anything about an election, so I had to surround myself around people who knew the election process and, what you do in a campaign. And I had a great team. I had Tanae Harris as my campaign manager, who had worked on campaigns at much higher levels than a district judge. So she helped me. I had people working, on my social media and all my print, material, and key people in the community that could help me canvass and knock on doors. And for those who didn't know me, introduce myself to them, let them know what my morals and values were, what my campaign pillars were, and to ask them, that they trust me and support me in my journey. And after running in that 2017 election, I won the primary in May and then the general in November, was sworn in January of 2018 and took the bench. It was amazing. So I like to say my job found me. I didn't find the job. And it's my honor and privilege to serve. I'm serving the community that I was born and raised in. I'm working for the people.
And my final question is, how are you able to balance out being a wife, a mom, and Jodie?
That's a challenge. That is a challenge. Work, I take work very seriously, and I do dedicate a lot of time to the office and to the people that come through the office. I spend time explaining things to them and ensuring that they understand, rights, responsibilities, process and procedures before, they leave the courtroom. It's important that I give people the opportunity to be heard. And I think once you give people the opportunity to be heard, regardless of what the outcome is, I think they're more understanding and more respectful of you in the process. So I spend time here. My children, my oldest is now 30, soon to be 31. I have a beautiful grandson. I see them once or twice a week. We live close, so I can see them more often. My youngest is a junior in high school. He's wrapped up in a sport, so I try to make time to get to his sporting events, structure my work schedule around, getting to basketball games and track meets at the end of the day when I can. And then I have my husband at home, and, he goes to work. Sometimes he tends to work long hours. But we just have to make a commitment to everyone that will find time to spend together. And Sunday dinners, we always have Sunday dinner at my parents' house. That's a family tradition, that's a must. And all the family, we could have between 15, 20 or more people at my parents' house on Sunday for dinner. That's when we catch up with each other. How was your week? What's going on? But we all live busy lives, we all are doing things, but the important thing is to make that time to spend together and then appreciate that time when you are together and know that everybody's doing something to be impactful, to the community and to better themselves.
Cool. Well, this concludes our interview. Thank you very much.
Ethan, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to have you with me today.
Yes.